2,000.
That's a boy, not bad.
Barry's made a value bet for a little more than half the pot.
Lazy, how bad have been doing this thing?
At this point, Chow can't beat most of the hands in Barry's range for the way the action went.
Oh, man.
Just about 40% of his stack to make this call.
3-9, 3-10.
Pocket Queens is nothing but a bluff catcher at this point.
Chow calls, and Barry wins the pot.
3-10, I give it to him. I put a 3-10 and see him call. Give him.
Now let's open it up a little bit and play some poker.
I'll feel it.
Barry Greenstein wins a pot of more than $161,000.
With a 3-9, 3-10.
Yeah, you're right.
Barry Greenstein takes down the biggest pot of the week and now has turned a profit of $127,000. If you want to appear on the big game and be a loose cannon, all you have to do is log on to PokerStars.net. There are free qualifying tournaments every day. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Thanks to that last hand, Barry Greenstein is up over $127,000 after flopping a set against Chow's Queens. Barry explained his decision-making process when he allowed us to go behind the poker face.
You know, Chow's not normally as tight a player as it looked, but he got behind right away. You know, when he raised pre-flop, it made sense that he'd have an overpair. And now the flop came 10-9-3, and I had 2 10s, and I flopped, you know, the nuts at this point. I flopped top set. He bet, Rick called. And some people just slow play and call right there, but the problem is Chow probably had a pretty decent hand to bet into 3 people, and Rick probably had some sort of draw. So I thought it was better to raise right there. He bet 4,000 on the flop. I raised to 13,000. I thought there was a decent chance I'd get called in both spots. And Chow called, and Rick folded. At this point in my mind, I was putting Chow in a hand like aces or kings. And so now I was building a good pot where I have, you know, the nuts. Now an 8 came on the turn, which is a dangerous card because Queen Jack would now make a straight. I would have probably bet 25,000 if a straight card didn't come off, but I bet 20,000 because I didn't want to scare him out. He called the 20,000, seemed to call pretty comfortably. At this point, you know, when he called, I said, nah, he's probably got jacks or queens because he doesn't seem that afraid of the straight, which means maybe he's at least drawing back at it. On the river, I just said, don't put up a jack or a queen. And an ace came. Well, the ace wasn't that great a card because there was an outside chance it makes him 3 aces, of course, which would be really terrible for me. But the other thing is if he has what I think he has, he may not pay off that big a bet on the river because even if he puts me on some hand that he had beat like ace-10, I've now drawn out on him. But once the ace came, I bet 42,000. The problem with betting only 42,000 was it looked like I wanted to get called.
Oh, man.
But I actually think I'd have probably gotten paid off for a 50,000 bet easier than 42, because 50 it was big enough that it might have looked like it could have been a bluff to him.
Very chubby.
I think he called knowing he was probably beat, but he wanted to see what happened to him.
Well, there you have it. Flop a huge hand, don't get outdrawn, and get paid off. Takes years of experience to play like that.
How much experience does it take to get stuck over $135,000?
Anyone can get outflopped, even beginners. Looks like we won't have a straddle this hand.
So the action begins with Greenstein.
Well, we need the prop or something.
Oh, well, I missed my straddle.
Barry folds. Pocket 6s for Antonio.
You could do it. Anybody that ever wants to put money in the pot with me, they're more than welcome.
Another pocket pair for Chow makes the call.
All right, I'm going to play my favorite hand here.
Oh, come on. Rick's in with 7 deuce offsuit.
Rick only called with 7 deuce. He's clearly tightening up his button range.
Troy Howard calls. Viffer's out, so 4 to the flop. This ought to be fun.
Poor Chow Chow's a dog even to 7 deuce right now.
Queen, King, 9, 2 spades. Howard checks. Esfandiari checks. Chow checks. And Rick checks. King on the turn.
With the checking around, Troy might feel like it's safe to bet his queen now.
Fires 2,000. Antonio's out. Chow's out.
Rick can only win this hand with a bluff. Let's see if he uses this opportunity to do it.
He calls.
Nope, he decides to float to turn instead. I'd expect to see a big bluff here in the river.
The river card is the 4 of diamonds. Troy first to act. That's 4,000.
Let's see if Rick tries to take it away.
Race.
He's going to try.
$14,000 more.
A raise to $18,000.
Troy's made an attempt at a value bet, and Rick's come over the top.
Problem is you were talking when you were playing him, and you obviously had a hand. You check, you miss your flush draw. You don't. I know you well enough to know you wouldn't check that king on the flop.
That's an easy call.
Well, kinda, because you look like you're on a busted flush draw to me. I think I gotta call you. I call.
You win. Good call.
Troy wins his biggest pot of the week.
You got it.
Can I see those cards, sir?
That's not a good thing to do, by the way.
Okay. I was talking to him, not the dealer.
See him if you want, but that's bad karma.
I was talking to him.
You'll see him on TV. Don't worry.
I wouldn't talk to the dealer.
That's right. You're going to get to see everyone.
It was 100% good call.
These loose cannons are a little too tough.
All right, guys, I'm going in my pocket. Pulling 50 out.
So Rick Rahim adds 50 grand to his stack. He's in for 150,000. In the meantime, the loose cannon Troy Howard is inching closer back to Profitville.
Troy's inching closer courtesy of Rick Rahim. He just won his first showdown in 3 tries, picking off a river bluff from Rick Rahim, who himself has yet to win a showdown. Every time he's been looked up, he's had the worst of it, and yet still hasn't changed his style one bit.
I wouldn't expect anything less from Rick Rahim.
Explains why he just went into his pocket for another 50K.
Okay, you can straddle for 8 now. Come on, you're on the upward swing.
You gotta be on the plusward string.
You're free rolling anyway. What's the difference?
Not free rolling,
That's
buddy.
the time to straddle.
I got a mortgage to pay. This ain't a free roll.
Good point.
I mean, he doesn't take off work to be here.
Exactly.
The loose cannon looking at Jack 4 and folding. Viffer, suited connectors. Raised to 1,200. Barry folds. King Jack offsuit for the magician. Calls. Chow folds. And Rick, King 7. Of course he's in.
My 2 favorite players.
Oh, thank you, dear.
Tender
Love
moment.
you too.
This is getting sweet. 7 queen ace, 2 clubs on the flop.
Despite being dominated, Rahim flops the best hand.
And checks over to Viffer, who has a flush draw and bets 3,000.
Even though he's behind, Viffer's the slight favorite with his pair and flush draw.
Esfandiari calls with a gut shot. Rahim folds.
Rick finally folds a flop, and he's got the best hand.
The turn, the 9 of diamonds. Viffer checks. Esfandiari checks.
Check, check for pot control.
5 of clubs on the river, giving Viffer a flush.
Viffer has made his flush, but it'll probably be tough for him to get any value from it.
He bets 8,000.
Maybe a little Hollywooding here from Antonio. He knows he can't call.
And he folds.